Welcome LXC Sentinel to another edition of, people call it our Rivals Rankings, which sounds pretty good, but
Yeah,
we
not bad.
call it Rivals Run Back, kind of recapping the previous week as well as Power Rankings. I, of course, am joined by CB the Barbarian. CB, how you doing tonight?
Uh, Doing all right. Getting a little late, but we got some people staying up late to see who to be pissed off at.
Yeah, it's you.
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry for the lateness with the teams finishing on Sunday. I didn't have as much time as I wanted to put everything together, but we got it done.
Yeah.
Um, so itinerary for today, we're gonna open it up with predictions, correct? That's what
Gonna
you just
open
said.
it up.
You just.
We're gonna show the LXC actual
Oh
official
yeah, yeah, yeah.
standings, and
Yeah, you're
then
right.
maybe a quick rundown of what who won week one games.
Mm-hmm.
Just shuffle through those, and then week two predictions, player rankings, and last but not least, team rankings.
All right. So looking at the standings for sectors 1 and 2. Pretty action-filled week so far. Sector 1 is the strongest between the sectors, winning the cross sector section matchup. TD Blast taking that victory. So there you have the standings. Any surprises so far for you here,
Uh,
CB?
sure. I was rooting for RAR. Forget who took him down. Sub Zero took him down. So I thought RAR might pull it out. I'm surprised to see Veracity with a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Hate to see rivals with a loss. Uh,
Blizzard diff.
true. Surprised. I don't want to say surprised. TFF lost. I think they're a good team, but they did play one of also a good team. So
Mm-hmm.
not too many crazy things happening.
Yeah, surprises for me. We weren't too high on BLM coming into the
What?
split. Apparently, we were pretty wrong in that regard. So them picking up a win was surprising for me, but apparently that's the norm. Other than that, nothing too crazy yet. But the
No.
season is young.
Oh yeah. Everybody's still getting warmed up. I think we had a decent amount of subs. People not having all their games. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the official standings.
There
We'll
you
do.
have it.
We'll see if I can pause it in time. Uh, so the week one quick run through matchups. I should have written all of them
Nope.
down.
These are all the
Oh, put the
you're
wrong
on the
ones in
previews and
there.
predictions.
Oh no.
That's okay. I got it. I'll talk about them.
I wonder if I
How
have the
about
same. Oh, I do.
do you
Oh.
have the old ones?
Sure. Week
You
one
know what I'm talking
predictions,
about?
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There was bound to be something, and this one is
Either
on me.
either way, we can just look at the schedule because I have it pulled up.
That's not as cool.
It's not as cool, but it'll get the job done. Do you need me to up? It's in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
folder
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
There you go.
as I blind myself and there you
This
go.
is right. This feels right.
Yep. OSGA took on Hydro Pump Blacktip, and Hydro Pump Blacktip pumped their black tips right into
Whoa.
OSGA. I mean, that was it was a beatdown. Hydro Pump came out to play. Quick 2-0. Anything standing out to you for that specific matchup?
I don't want to divulge too much. We do play HP tomorrow.
B. Yep.
Um, but yeah, they're looking stronger than maybe we thought they were, or OSGA is a little weaker than we thought. I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, a couple of standout performances. Slivik. I still don't know how to say his name. 38 KD, pretty nice across 2 games. Infiltrate 31 as well. Everybody had really nice KDs, but those were by far the biggest. And then the mid laner, 73% KP is nothing to scoff at. So really good job by Hydropump Black Tip.
Yeah, nice little.
OSGA, putting it together still, we'll say.
Yeah, we still got time. Still got time.
Yep, this week.
Oh no, the chaos that
Yeah,
was the
dude.
Tuesday stream.
We
Uh,
apologize.
yeah,
Yeah, let's just
apologies
say
to.
right now, we apologize for all the pauses. We're having power issues, and then we're having device issues, and
Yeah.
then people were going to the bathroom. And
The one day I'm sure all year that it will snow in Florida
yep,
was right at game time. And
yep.
so two of us lost power. I'm sure you saw on stream. So apologies, LXC uh, production, casters, and NLE. We all suffered together, but on us. So
NLE took the 2-1 victory. We had the DC happen game one, so it was kind of like pretty much a forfeit, but we stuck it out. Came back, beat them in game two, and then game three, my team decided to just run it down for fun, but
we're
it's
tired
okay,
or something,
or
probably.
something.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, props to NLE. They showed a lot of good stuff. I think, games one and two draft. I think we did pretty well. Games three, they uh, were who we thought they were, and we just didn't draft accordingly. So, good on them. And yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
matchup. You guys can watch that if you want. I know it's up on the LXC YouTube. I don't know how long that VOD is. I don't know if they had to cut it because that would take forever to go on the YouTube. I don't even know if it's up on YouTube.
Yeah,
But anyways,
that was a tough one.
that was. And here's the last of the Sector 1 matchups. TFF, PLW, two teams we expect to be in the top half of the standings come year end. PLW taking the 2-0 victory. Or,
2-0, right?
yeah, 2-0, 2-0. Was a little bit surprising. I think they weren't quite ready for all the role swaps that had happened, even though they were communicated. My apologies to TFF. Didn't want to make you look like bad guys, but PLW takes a convincing win despite missing their starting jungler, Star Burrito stepping in very nicely. Uh, Silent Assassin looks pretty good in the mid lane. Um, I mean, all of them look pretty good, but Silent and Ayoka and their Nike Dragon, everybody that we thought was gonna be good ended up being good.
Yeah.
So
I will say, I didn't know you could use two Emerald 3 players, but I see that you can. So good on them for reading the rules. I wasn't aware of
solo
that.
queue warriors, that's what they're called.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
TB,
yeah, 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 yeah.
not Emerald threes.
Oh, gee. No, I expect both teams to make playoffs, no problem. I think maybe we both picked PLW to win this one. I'm not sure, but
I
I
don't know.
think TFF will be just fine. I just think PLW is one of the best teams for sure.
Yeah, in future streams we'll have how me and CB have been doing, but this one we did not. That's okay. Yeah, top of the. I mean, TFF didn't look great, but it was against a really solid opponent. Would be worrying if the trend continues though.
Yeah,
Here's our cross division matchup. TD blessings,
bless. We'll remember
blessed.
eventually.
Took the victory against Dropping Point Hellfire. DP, in our opinion, not expected to be a great team this split. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pick up one game, but that's okay. I think TDB gonna be solidly in the middle, upper middle of the pack. Looked really good.
Yeah, I think we both thought TD was going to pull this one out. DP
Mm-hmm.
has a little bit of a lower rank compared, but it's still early, so who really knows who's going to end up where? Just TD. I think kind of that top triangle was looking pretty good. I don't.
Yeah,
Or at least,
Complex, Red XC, looking really well between the Jung Top and then XL Physiology. Really looking really good to support. So, both side lanes covered. Riven, not the best series from Riven, but not horrible. So
still got time. We'll see.
we'll
Cross
see.
Division 1 for Sector 1.
Yep.
Better sector.
Looking at Sector 2 OTLO taking on Veracity. Now, Veracity, you said you were a little bit surprised. I think the outcome was, I think we both had OTLO winning this one.
Yeah, I think I got 2-1 maybe. I don't know. Maybe I was hopeful.
Yeah, maybe you're hopeful. We did know that Veracity wasn't gonna have their starting jungler. So Rich played Stepped up admirably. Pradles had not the best series. Not sure what happened there. I mean, looking at the stats, it doesn't even look like the stats were put in right, but that's what we went off of. So, um, and then OTLO looked really solid. Uh, what was it that I was looking at that I was like, dang. Oh yeah, Kakino with the 11.33 KDA, holding it down at ADC, and then Aspect of Noxus, who we have had participate in one of the rivals tournaments, filled in really nice as their starting top. Still didn't have their games done.
Yeah, and I think they're anticipating Aspect to play week 2. We'll see if their starting top laner comes back week 2, week 3, or never. Who knows? If you go 2-0 with a top lane sub, you just keep them in, right? We'll see what
Makes sense to me.
we'll see what they do. Oh, I put 2-1. It is 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2-0.
That was my vote last week. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
2 more to go over. 2 more, right? Or am I tripping?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yep. CEW versus BLM. Now, CEW, a team that didn't really even have a roster until the day of, I think. I'm not even sure if Foxhound Cause
He's on there
counted.
now as a sub, but I don't know if
I don't know if he counted as a E-sub during their game. I don't know. I didn't look at the bans or anything. CEW was able to pick up a win despite having what I would imagine pretty limited practice. So that's a good sign for them moving forward. BLM starting the season off right, picking up that win and did so pretty convincingly. They seem like a team that works. Their chemistry's up. They work like a machine. I was looking at their stats. They're all similar across the board, which means they fight together and they live or die by the team, which is good to see. LXC stream, thank you so much for the raid. We're going over Sentinel power rankings. We appreciate it. CB, any other thoughts for what you saw from these two teams?
definitely Braum Lives Matter, a team we were, I think, both kind of low on. So we'll see if this
Yeah.
is just a bad CE team or a CE team that's not quite figured their roster out, or if it's just a
We were wrong.
BLM team
Could
that's
be
just
wrong.
really good.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't want to be streamed yesterday. Well, that's okay, I guess. But we carry on.
We carry on. Last matchup to go over for I almost called it Sentinel 2, Sector 2. OSG Sub-Zero and Roar. Roar losing the matchup.
2-1.
A little bit surprising. 2-1. You're looking at Roar. Stats wise, they had pretty solid performances across the board. I expect that the series was pretty close, as evidenced by the 2-1 win as opposed to a 2-0. But OSGS doing enough to squeak out that victory.
Yeah, we'll see if this was a fluke on one of the team's parts, or if this is OSGS is gonna carry on doing well, and RAR or maybe it was just me, I don't know. Priced them a little too high. We'll see if they figure it out,
Yeah, it
because on
seems like
paper they look good.
yeah, it seems like Roar actually probably did better in the micro because like if you look at the stats like straight up between the two teams' players, you would think that OSGS would have lost this game, which is kind of funny, or this match, I should say. They didn't though, so I mean, KDAs and all that stuff doesn't really matter when you have the enemy team Nexus explode. So go down OSGS. We'll have to see if like you're saying, the trend continues into week 2. We'll go over that here in a little bit. But good stuff. Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah, we'll go up over the matchups for week 2. Give a little prediction action. So that's it for what happened week 1. Do I have?
You have week 2 because you showed it before.
Yeah, I do. I think I have them just copied though.
While you're looking for everything, Super Mario, we appreciate the follow. Don't know when that happened. I guess it says 5 minutes ago. So if you're still here, thank you so much for supporting. Week 2 preview. Okay, OSGA versus TFF. OSGA was not able to pick up a win in their previous series. To put it in perspective, OSGA didn't have a single player with a KDA above 1, which means they were beat down pretty thoroughly. TFF coming off a loss as well. So this is a get right game for both these teams. But I expect TFF irons out the wrinkles and takes a 2-0 victory. CB, what do you got?
Not to copy and paste, but I'm gonna be in the same boat. I think TFF just happened to play probably the best team right now in Sentinel. So I think they're gonna have a get right game. OSGA just gonna play one of the better teams in my opinion this week too. Not to say they couldn't pull it out. Who do they play week 1? They played Hydro Pump, so I guess we'll find out if that was just
Yeah.
them playing against another good team or not tomorrow. But yeah, I would
Yeah.
probably pick TFF in a 2-0 probably.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, I mean, obviously I didn't see OSGA play, but on paper, there's pretty significant issues for a result like that. Losing both the games on an average of 25 minutes. So, uh, not the end of the world though. It's week 1, long season. It's tough because you have one of the tougher opponents coming up week 2 after a performance like that. It's always hard to try to
Yeah,
bounce back and get yourself psyched up.
true.
We talked about last time how we're not really going to do our predictions for our games because we're biased and we want to win every one. But I
Yeah.
think this is going to be a matchup that, like we thought with NLE, is going to be maybe closer than we initially thought coming into the season.
Yeah, I think I think for both teams, it's gonna be a good check to see
Litmus
where we
test.
actually are, and they'll get to see where they actually are. So, yeah, I don't know. We won't get too crazy on this one, but that is a matchup happening tomorrow.
Jack can let us know, who do you got, us or Hydro Pump Black Tip? But moving on to, I think wait, hold on. Am I not mistaken? I don't
Hmm.
remember if I put which one was the cross division. Hydro Pump's in our division, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Okay.
Yeah. This
Um,
one's also our division.
TD Blessed versus Plasma Wolves. So both of these teams coming off victories. Somebody has to lose. Who do you got?
I will probably pick PLW until proven incorrect. Kind of surprised this isn't the streamed game. Feels like it should be, but yeah, I'd go PLW. Who TDY play or who TD play? I'm gonna go PLW 2-0. I don't know. We're just gonna see how. If they 2-0 TD, I think they solidify number 1 for a while. How about you?
TD took on less than
Deep.
stellar, I would say, a DP team.
Yeah.
So this is a good test for them early on in the season. PLW probably top 5 between the two sectors, I would say. If they take off a game from PLW, I'd consider that a success for TDB. I think PLW wins. I'm gonna call it 2-1 though. I think TDB has some stuff in the tank that maybe we're unaware of. People keep telling me that there's really good players on that team, so when you have really good players, you typically win. So I'm gonna say 2-1, but it's still PLW favored.
Okay. Fair. Next we have RAR versus NLE.
Okay, yeah. There's the cross division.
Yeah. NLE being 1-0 in Sector 1, RAR 0-1 from Sector 2, I'm guessing then.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one. Especially coming off of a loss from NLE.
Yeah.
I bet on RAR last week. Let me down. Do I double down? I don't know. I guess it's close. It's a toss up, coin toss. I'd go NLE 2-1, but I think 1-2, 2-1, something like that.
I'm calling NLE 2-0. Not to say that I don't think RAR can take a game off. I just think NLE's putting in the work. we've scrimmed them, and I think from what I've seen, um, in terms of like how they approach the game, I think they're doing things the right way. I know well, I don't know for a fact. I'm 99% positive that this road team probably doesn't scrim. Um, I think they're kind of in the boat where they kind of just show up and play and have fun, which is fine. But I think NLE's trying to win, and I'll just say 2-0 just for the heck of it, just for being different.
Okay, okay. Yeah, all you have to do is make playoffs, and then you can start trying. So
Yeah, that's true.
we'll see.
Well,
So
yeah, when you lose, you just say you're just not trying. There you go.
yeah, that's what I did. Or blame the power.
OTLO versus OSGS. OSGS uh, picking up a pretty good victory. And then OTLO, in my opinion, top two for sure, easily right now. Um, Lots of purple on this screen between these two teams.
True.
Who you got, CB?
I I would definitely put OTLO for sure top 2, 3, 4 somewhere in there for sure. So I'm gonna go OTLO 2-0. There's only a few teams that would probably swap that from a 2-0 for OTLO. So they looked good. They played a team that I think's pretty decent in No Veracity week 1. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll just go OTLO 2-0.
Yeah, I'll say 2-0 as well. That's not to say that OSGS doesn't have good things going on right now. Um, I just think it's another level from what they've seen. Uh, I think the difference between RAR and OTLO is pretty big.
Yeah, we'll see. Battle of there's a bunch of purple teams, I guess, but Battle of the
Yeah,
Purple
there's a
this week
lot.
in Sector 2. Okay.
Next up, you got Contingent Esports White versus No Veracity. Get right game for both these teams. Oh, went a little too far.
That's a
That's
little too
okay.
far.
Both these teams coming off of losses. Veracity unable to pick up a victory, while Contingent Esport did pick up one. So a win here for Veracity would be a big help in terms of Sector 2 standings. I Now, I don't know if there's any Veracity players in the chat right now. I'm assuming the jungler is back. With that assumption, I got Veracity 2-1. Um,
Okay, that's fair. What if they use this up? You gonna change your mind, or is it just the question mark's
so,
bigger?
okay, dude. I said 2-1, now I'm torn, but I'm going to stick with it just because that's what my initial thought was. But man, did Prados have a rough week last week? And I even if you sub in the regular jungler, I don't know what happened where Prados was struggling, so much. Um, I think Tyler's gonna come in and maybe be a little bit more of a vocal presence in terms of like where his team needs to be, what they should be contesting, and stuff like that. But if they lose this game, if they lose against CW, I'm a little bit concerned for Veracity.
Okay, fair. I CE played BLM week 1. I have a feeling BLM's better than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
So CE's probably not as bad as just the 0-1 record might show.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Veracity took on one of the top teams that we both agree in OTLO.
Mm-hmm.
So similar boats, I guess. I'm gonna ride the Veracity hype train one more week. Give them one more chance to not let me down. So I'm also gonna go Veracity 2-1. I don't know. They might have already. Let me see if they put. They're expected to have Tyler back jungle. So.
See, that's the difference.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Veracity 2-1, and we'll see if they let me down again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have one more.
Yep, one more. It's gonna be BLM versus DPH. BLM coming off a victory. DPH struggled for sure. I don't think DPH's struggles stop here. I think they continue. I think BLM, like you said, probably a little bit better than we initially gave them credit for. I have BLM winning 2-0.
Okay. Yeah. Similar boat here. I think we're agreeing a lot today. I don't know if we
Yeah.
had maybe one not the same. But yeah, I'll go BLM 2-0. I can't bet on DPH until they show some life. Granted, we're all of 1 week in, which means not a ton. But BLM got an extra game in, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll stick with 2-0 BLM, and DPH hopefully can show some life, regardless if they win or lose.
All right, DPH, if you're listening, your game plan is to play through your mid. I think
Oh,
if
you're telling
you,
everybody.
I think if you play through, check your mini map, useful link, get some going. I think some good things can start happening. But I'm just going off of what the paper tells me. So
Got the
you guys
Carfax.
do whatever, yeah, whatever you guys do whatever you think is good. But that would be my suggestion. So there's the week 1 review, the week 2 preview. We're gonna take a little bit of a break before we get into these player power rankings.
Yep. We'll take a quick little intermission, and I guess whichever role is asked for the most is the role that we will start for
And even do
player
a poll,
rankings when
probably.
we come back. If you can do it fast enough, I don't know. Or they can just type it.
Oh, nope.
Oh, all right.
That's
We
embarrassing.
will be right back with player rankings.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rivals Run Back. We're going to be going over the what does the poll say? Top lane power rankings. You guys are boring. Starting with top. So we're gonna jump right into it. Have your receipts ready, aka what you ranked previously, because there's some movement happening early on this season. As
Do
we
we do we want to give them a kind of a disclaimer? Uh, this is not
how they work.
kind of, yeah. I mean, so this is not strictly just based on stats. LXC has plenty of stats you can go look at on their master sheet. They do a great job with the stats. So if you want the official who's best at what, that's where you should go. This is kind of a mix of.
I mean, we can just tell them how we do it.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I mean, I was in the middle of it, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead.
no no no
You,
no.
no, you got it.
Well, this is how I think it works since I sent it
Yeah.
to you to combine it, but it's a mix of stats, what actually happened in your game, who you actually played against matters to some extent, the eyeball test, uh, attempt at non-bias, and I ranked everybody, Righteous ranked everybody, and we averaged it out. So it's a mix
Yeah.
of multiple moving parts to where it's not just like I like Bob the best, even though he got his ass whooped. I'm gonna put him at 2.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of everything, and so also I guess to note, uh, at least portion of it is if you started high in preseason and you did terrible, doesn't mean you necessarily went to 14 since you started kind of high. People are moving based on how they play, so it might take a week or two before you actually get to where you kind of settle in at, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah. So to be fully transparent, to get a mix of like both the eye test and just like statistical analysis, the way I did mine was like strictly based on stats. The way CB did his was, looking at the stats, but also looking at previous ranking, who they played, you know, a little bit more of like the eyeball test, something like the college football playoff committee would kind of
Yeah.
use. We combine the two to kind of get like the happy medium. So that's what you're gonna see here. So without further ado, what everyone is waiting for, the top lane rankings for LXC Sentinel after week 1. Starting off with number 14, gotta start off somewhere. We have, I believe, Angry.
Yep.
From,
Can you not see it?
I can't see it now, but I think I'm
Yeah, it's XX Angry from DP.
DP. Yes.
You might have to. I guess you can point out if you know where they started at, but
Yeah, so I could talk about a little bit. They started at number 12, but that was when CEY didn't have a top laner listed. Um, so I mean, you could talk about it a little bit, but kind of basically around where they started out.
yeah, you start at 12 and your team kind of gets smacked. You're
A
probably
little
gonna
bit.
stay in that range, so only up from here is what we say.
Yeah, they took on um
TD.
TD, didn't do too well. So stats, everything eyeball tests, kind of just put Angry there. Feldroth subbing in for I believe Matrix. Um, so Matrix was 13. Feldroth filled in admirably and placed 13th as well.
Yeah, and I guess also to mention, if you're a starter and you didn't play week 1, you're not gonna be
You're
on
not
this
on this
list
list.
because
Yeah.
what do we go off of? So even if it's just a random sub that happened to just play that 1 week, they're going to be on the list until the starter plays, and then the starter will take the spot. So
Yep.
just an FYI.
Just to make everything a little bit easier, because these are obviously comparative rankings as well. So Tiny Fist of Fury coming in at number 12. Their team was able to get the win. That's one thing I should note. So the way that I do my power rankings, I don't know about CB. My power rankings don't take into account wins or losses, strictly performance and like how the performance compares across everybody else. Um, so even if you like your team won, you're 2-0, you did fine in lane, and then you're like 12 or 11 or 10 or whatever. Um, it's 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 more so based off of how you do as an individual because as the league is a team game, these power rankings are individual power rankings.
Mine is a little bit of both, and I only because like you could do really well in lane, but your stats at the end of the game are not so great. So you could argue, well, they beat the other top laner in lane,
Mm-hmm.
but how did they translate that XYZ? Obviously, we
Yeah.
didn't watch all
7.
7 games times 2.5 probably, so all whatever 15 plus games.
Oh
Um,
yeah, 7 matches, I should say. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a mix of a little bit of everything, but yeah, I don't know
Moving
where was
on.
Tiny Fist at preseason.
Oh yeah, sorry. Tiny Fist was at number 8,
Okay, so
so a little bit of a
they got the
fall.
win, but yet fell.
Yeah, like I said, comparative stats. Now that we have some stuff to go off of, we were going off of like on paper before. Now we're going off of how well people actually did comparatively. Um, at the very end, we could talk about maybe where my individual rankings differ from what we see here or yours if you have them ready, handy. But regardless, number 11, Death Knight.
Who the
So I
who?
would say Death Knight and CB on these lists, if you went strictly off his stats, was not good because of the DCs. So that's where the eyeball test comes in a little bit. Um, but yeah,
True.
I
Yeah,
think
only got to play, or yeah, only got to play half
two
of
and a half
first game,
years.
so it's kind
Yeah,
of a weird, at least as far as stats go.
yeah.
I think he was maybe 10, 9 or 10 last week, so
He was 10. So
going in the wrong direction.
yep,
But blame the power.
gonna get cut here soon.
Mm-hmm.
13's the cutoff. Can't have the last place top laner. Number 10, Islamic Samurai. So Samurai was listed jungle in the preseason, has since moved permanently towards top. TFF didn't get the win, and Samurai had a really rough time in that series. Uh, I would I would argue to say of TFF as a whole, probably had the worst luck of it. Um, between him and Coach Silent K, that top side really struggled. So that's how you end up there. Um, he wasn't on top lane list, so there's nothing to compare
Yeah, nothing. It
for
was
the
interesting. I don't
preseason.
think I've ever seen. If you look at the game 2 of their game, it was the top lane stats were 004 and 110. So
Yeah,
probably was a super exciting game topside.
yeah. Number
Mm,
9, we have RH Cheese of, I believe that
team that
is
won.
OSGS.
Okay, yeah, and they won. I think
Yes.
they won against RAR, so they got to play 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I had cheese super high on my internal list before. So I mean, not to say nine's like high, but there are some players that I recognize obviously underneath cheese, so I see it as a positive.
Yeah, so RH Cheese was 6 in our preseason power rankings, dropped down to ninth. I will say, like, look at the list as thirds. We're kind of putting it together as stats come in, but that middle third, middle of the pack was where we had him. So once stats started coming in and everything, slid down to ninth, but really not that concerning if you're that particular individual.
Yeah, I think yeah. Look at it from a third standpoint, you're still chilling in the same realm.
General realm, yeah. Number 8,
The sub himself.
the sub himself, aspect of Noxus, of OTLO, uh, aspect, uh, second best on their team.
Really?
So, didn't really get involved in any of the team fights. Only 31% KP. Did get, a solo kill or two. Um,
Most
but
damage?
like
Game
like what
2.
you're talking about, Um, laning is one thing, and then playing the position through the whole game is another. When you have that low of a KP, you're either really playing side lanes hard, like as a split pusher, or you're just not getting involved effectively. So hard to tell without watching the games. Um, but at number 8, the top of the bottom half, respectable for a sub.
Yeah, and especially it looks like they're going to play week 2. If they continue to play, I think the jungle top synergy will only get better.
Diet Coke, the man who took it to DK. No, just kidding. Death Knight had a pretty good game on Urgot against Diet Coke. But Diet Coke had obviously the better series overall with no DCs. Really solid laner. One of those guys that I think laning, he's not gonna have problems with. Maybe more so the macro once lane phase ends, because he was put on, he's put on the Zac, he's put on a lot of team fighters. So, as a top winner in solo queue, you used to play on the side. Maybe not going to be the style for Diet Coke, for the future. I don't know. Not
Yeah,
on NLE, but
tank duty all 3 games. So we'll see if that sticks. If only they would stop dodging us in scrims, Diet Coke.
yeah. Number 9 in the preseason ranking, so rising to number 7.
Okay.
But like we said, that kind of middle third. So, solid overall. Had a really rough game into the Urgot, but that's not the end of the world.
Wins a win.
Win's a win. Number 6 is Prussian, new on this list. So here's a fun fact for you. Looking strictly at stats, I had Prussian as number 3.
Oh.
Had a really solid performance across 3 games. Did a lot for his team, actually. I think it was like, he was something crazy, like 27% of his team's damage coming from top lane, which is wild. Usually it's like mid or ADC that are leading the team. So good stuff from Prussian. I think what knocked him down a couple pegs was the opponent, as well as just
maybe.
Well, just not really having a preseason ranking.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, what technically Prussian started at what 14? If you
14, yeah.
Yeah,
By
so
default.
I think that's why mine was so low, because I had him at like 9 or 10, and it's not necessarily because just starting clean slate was 9, 10. It's more of just that person started at 14, so they moved up a bunch of spots. So blame your captain for not having. No.
Yeah, but I mean, number 3 on my rankings. I think as the season goes on, I'm gonna be one of the more exciting top laners to watch. So we'll have to see if that continues. But going into the top 5, at number 5 is Reverse. Had a really solid series for HP Blacktip. That whole team did really well. I think for HPB, especially for the jungle and support with those high KDAs, it's gonna be like, it's like expectation, like is their performance repeatable, or was it just taking advantage of a lesser quality opponent? So as we go on, we'll probably get a more defined view of all these HPB players, but really benefited from a week 1 SmackDown. So my list had him at 6.
Okay, so we had been
I
pretty
don't know.
close then.
Yeah, I
4
think
out of
yours
the
was
4.
close as well. So I
Yeah.
started off at 11. So already proving us wrong.
Yeah,
For the
going
preseason
in the right
ranking.
direction, and we will see tomorrow night if
Yep.
it's all true.
Number 4, Feathers. Had him number 3 in the preseason power ranking. Feeling pretty good about his preseason rank. Really solid in his team's loss. Despite the loss, had arguably a better performance as across. I think it was Tiny Fists of Fury that
Jeez.
or RHGs. Yeah, my bad. a little bit better of a performance overall when comparing those two players, but she's got the win. Feathers didn't, so he's ranked number 4, but he's 0-1 in the standings.
True. 3 games though, so at least
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
just looked like a solid staple as expected in the top lane. Just didn't pull out the win, so only
Yep.
moved down 1 spot
Yeah, you can lose and be top 5, like I said. Power
for now.
rankings are more so individual. I mean,
We'll
yeah,
see. We'll see.
yours might be a little bit more biased, but
Bias. What the
I'll go
hell?
off the stats. I'll go off the stats.
I know the truth.
Number 3.
Right on cue. Uba awesome.
Yeah, you be awesome, I
Oh,
believe.
okay, okay, okay.
Oob awesome sounds weird.
Uba.
Maybe that's right. I don't know. You be awesome, you tell us. Number 3, top 3 for Veracity, despite the loss. Did really, really well. 5th in terms of like my statistical analysis of things. I don't know what you had him as.
Number 2. 2, my lord. I'm gonna
So,
assume because I mean I guess that's the highest person that lost, right? So
hmm
2 people in the top 4 that lost.
yeah,
What kind of a bias show are we running here?
yeah, I don't know. You be awesome started at number 7, rising up to number 3. So kind of still figuring it out in terms of our power rankings, but I think a pretty good solid spot. Um,
Yeah, I think just had a
right there for
really
him.
solid showing against OTLO, who's one of the best teams,
Mm-hmm.
despite the loss. So
Yep.
that's the reason that Uba is so high.
Oob. Number 2 is Neptune Rises. I knew Neptune from Blue Otter. Uh, we had him at number 5 coming into the preseason power rankings. Number 2 in my side of things. Really solid play from Plasma Wolves. So.
Yeah, I think the top 4, at least for me on my list, was
Mm-hmm.
really close. Especially probably top 3. I think I moved him around a couple times. So, yeah, one of if not the best teams. I guess we'll say this about both number 1 and number 2. So kind of interchangeable. It'll be interesting whenever they actually face off. Don't know when they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely deserved number 2 spot for Neptune.
Yeah, and then number 1, of course, Complex, rounding out our rankings there. For TDB, I would from week 1, I'd probably give him the MVP. Had the best KDA, got a solo kill, 64% KP from top. Was really good. Um, his CS per minute was high. His vision score was good. Overall, really, really efficient for what his team was asking him to do. I think you had him as number 2 or number 1 as well.
Yeah, I will
Um,
say. I mean, I think we both agree on that. Complex is at near the top.
hmm
Also, to look at, they did play against who we have number 14.
Yep.
So we'll really see if Complex can stay at the top. It'll be kind of
Yeah.
tough for people to drop when you're at the top if you're just winning and playing well. So
Well, yeah, and he came in as number 4 too, so it was a performance that was expected by him. Despite the opponent. So going off for preseason rankings, definitely in the kind of entrenched in the top 5 so far. But as the season goes on, we'll have to see how these players move. But there you have it, the top lane rank rankings for week 1, coming off of everybody's week 1 performances. Let us know who you think we got right, who you think we got wrong.
nobody's yelled at us so far. So I think
Yeah, I
we're
know.
not
Chat's really quiet
too
compared
bad.
to the preseason.
Maybe most
They're
people
sleepy. Yeah, they're sleepy.
agree, or yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think the only other 2 spots that got votes were jungle support, so we could just go down the line
Yeah,
if you want.
let's just go down the line. Go to jungle next. We're gonna try to squeeze it in before
Yeah, I can snooze a little bit. So
the next
it's a
ad
little
break
bit
there.
fun.
So, if you're observant here, you see a tie. So the way we do the rankings doesn't mean it's gonna be cut and dry. When players are very very close, they might end up tying. Um, Between our rankings could come out to the similar averages. So, three-way tie for 4th for the jungle ranking. Seems like a cop out, but we're trying to not be biased. So
Yeah, we're doing it
Uh,
fair. We'll see.
yeah. Number 14, OSG Novocaine. Somebody that we had high hopes for coming into the season. You know, one weekend, hard to say that they let us down, but um, I believe they were eighth in the preseason power rankings. Didn't have a really great showing. So you see him there at 14.
Yeah, definitely a tough one. Played Talia. You don't see a lot of Talia. Um,
Mm-hmm.
or was it Wukong maybe also? Some playmakers, so it's kind of tough if your team overall is not doing well. But yeah, just stats bringing Novocaine down to the bottom. Only up from here.
Yep. Number 13 is going to be Usefulint. I got his name wrong on the last preseason things. I added an I. It's straight from the L to the NT.
Mm.
Wasn't aware, but there you go. Course correction. DP, as we have discussed, didn't have the greatest of first weeks that have ever been had. And Usefulint dinged in that process. I will say they were number 6 preseason coming in. The papers lied to us
True. Yeah. I mean,
so
the
far. So
results
far.
of the game mean a lot more than the on-paper tests. Just looking at some op.gg type stuff. So, big fall. I assume maybe one of the biggest falls on
Probably the
our
biggest.
ranking. But they did play a good team, so they have the opportunity to bounce back week 2.
Yeah, Jungle's one of those roles that's unforgiving. Because, like, with Feathers, his team lost, but he did really well as an individual. Jungle's like,
It's your fault.
I can do well as an individual, but if my team's struggling, it's gonna, affect me greatly. So, number 12, I'm Stealthy. I think we had them at 12 in the preseason rankings, so nail on the head, pats on backs, uh, consistency.
True. We got to get somebody right. Right.
Yeah,
They did have
Stealthy.
one of their games they played really well on the Udyr. The one game that they won. So maybe that's
Hint,
a
play
hint
Udyr.
of. I mean, not just Udyr, just if your jungler does well, maybe you win type thing. I don't know, but yeah, sitting at 12. 2-10, not the double digit deaths.
Not the double digit deaths. All right, number 11, I believe is
Big Parm.
yeah, Big Rev himself. Tough week with all the DCs and everything. Hard matchup game 3 as well. That's excuses though. So, just not the best performance from Rev. I think we had him at number 7. So, just outside that third we initially slotted him in. Definitely looking to bounce back next week.
True. I think we just got to get him on the Nautilus
Yes.
and jump up to 1 and 2. No, definitely. Obviously, all of our players
Yeah.
are weird spots, not only because of the bias factor, but also week 1 was just an interesting week with 2 DCs. Yeah, opportunity to bounce back week 2. You could argue that's still almost in the top third.
Yeah, just right there. Soul Keeper. Yeah, he did have that hero still for the game that didn't matter. Game 1, but yeah, he did get a stolen Baron. So there you go. Moving on though, Coach Silent K, as alluded to in the top lane ranking, the top lane rankings, definitely struggled as with Islamic Samurai on that top side. Gotta be curious. I know, somebody from TFF was saying like these are gonna be the permanent positions. I wonder if they switch back and do what they originally had intended with Samurai Jungle and Silent K top. Who knows? Just because it's concerning that the top side of the map struggled so as much as they did.
I know week 2 they're planning, at least on paper, planning to do what they did week 1. So
So I guess
should
not.
be Samurai top, Coach Silent K jungle. So
Yep.
we'll see if they get spicy before games actually start, but that's the plan right now.
Yeah. Not much to say other than the struggle did have a nice KP from the jungle roll though, 70%, always good.
And did play against a good team, so we'll give
Yeah,
him
did
some
play
warning.
against a good
So you're
team.
in the middle third, not a bad spot to be coming off of a loss.
Yeah, wasn't in the jungle rankings obviously, so no
Yeah.
comparison there. Moving on to number 9, we got
The sub,
uh
Richie Rich.
yeah, Richie Rich the sub for Veracity. So despite Veracity losing O2, Rich did pretty well. For comparison's sake, Tyler ended at number 5 for our preseason rankings. So, I mean, it's not to say that Tyler would have fallen here, but uh, I don't think anybody thought Rich, was going to be the
Savior.
the savior coming in from a sub role. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, the middle third for subs, pretty good.
Yeah, especially having lost the game. We expect Tyler to play next week, so most likely Rich will fall off the list. We'll just keep one player per team. But yeah, number 9 is not bad for stepping in. I assume not very much team chemistry being a sub. So we'll move on to 8.
Yep. Top of the bottom half. We got the Moisting from Roar. So like I said earlier on in the show, Roar, if you looked at their individual stats, you would have thought they won the series. Moisting had a pretty solid showing as part of that. Let me see if I can got all my spreadsheet full of stuff here. Decent KDA, decent KP, 60%. Did have pretty high damage per minute compared to a lot of these junglers, which is interesting. That game in general had a lot of high DPN between both teams, but not the best, but not the worst showing for Moisting. So he ends up right there, kind of smack in the middle.
Yeah, a lot of good showings for a lot of the RAR members, despite losing and letting me down. But got to pull out the spicy fiddlesticks. But yeah, 8th is not a bad spot to be. Coming off a loss, we'll see if they can bounce back.
For comparison's sake, we had Moisting at 9, so pretty spot on from the preseason. Comma at number 7. Comma chameleon. Anyone? Number 13 in the preseason, jumping all the way up to number 7. A big part of why BLM ended up winning their series. Looking at the stats for Comma, just a shade under 4 KDA, lots of damage, IKP, good vision, just overall solid showing.
Yeah, I expect you had Kama pretty high on your list for where them falling at 7.
Yeah, so Kama ended up number 3 for the stats side of things.
Okay, so you can blame me.
Got dinged by CB, yeah.
I think it's mainly because just they started so low.
Yep.
Just to climb up, so it's just a good mix. Not the best showing on the Nocturne. See, they went for the Nocturne Shin combo, but the other 2 games they did super well and pulled out the win. So number 7, nothing bad there. We'll see if they keep climbing up the rankings.
Here's our tie for 4th.
Oh, should I do them all? Or no? I guess
No, you usually go one by one. Alphabetical order. So if you're at the bottom of the 4, doesn't mean you're the worst of the 4. Star Burrito filling in for News in Paris. And filled in really well. Top 4 performance.
No, just kidding.
Kind of, yeah.
I could see them continuing to start. I wonder if that's going to be the case. Usually you don't see people subbing back to back, especially because I don't think it's a lack of games by their starting jungler. So I wonder if they'll eventually swap, or if it's just a toss up every week.
We knew they were gonna be good coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, good performance overall. A lot of the plasma was benefited just from solid play all around. I believe it is Red XC, which was a sub for the next fourth place finish. 3-3 for top four is kind of funny. TD Blessings. I don't know if this is gonna be permanent. We talked about how Toxin living in Korea and such.
Yeah. It looks like Red XC is slotted to play week 2.
So I think you ride the hot hand. Makes sense. Really good, especially with I always call it top jungle duo, but that top side showing with complex as well. Solid stuff.
Yeah. Tie for 4.
Tied for 4.
So 2 subs tied for 4. Can we get a third? Ah.
No.
No name.
Yep. No name. Number 4. I think was 6th for me in terms of actual stats. I knew you had him pretty high.
Yeah, 4.
I think just a team winning a game match that didn't know if they could pull out or not. Solid performance from them as well.
29 assists on the J4.
Yeah.
So we love to see.
Ends up in the top 4 for no name. Top
Yeah.
4 with like asterisk because there's 3.
You can still say top 4. It's fine.
Yeah. But the top 3 is definitive. Oh yeah. No name was on the preseason ranking number 10, so
Ooh.
big jump there for him.
Nice.
But patting our own backs, a win is a win for us. Koino Yokan, number 3 in the preseason, number 3 after 1 week. I know you had him pretty high, so I am gonna say,
Yeah.
stats perspective, had him at 7, kind of in the middle.
Okay. I had him at 2.
They beat a tough opponent. That's why you have him at number 2.
I think I went back and forth with my 2, 3, and 4, which one of them's not showing yet. So those are all kind of interchangeable. And so, yeah, I mean, they had a
Really
good showing,
performance on
obviously.
Lilia.
Yeah, and then
Lilia was
obviously
good.
game 1 was scuffed, so it's kind of tough to speak to that one. But I'm willing to first pick blind pick for their team. And a nasty showing on the Lilia, which we kind of expected. And they
Yep.
still exceeded expectations. So, yeah, popped off.
Top 2 and is number 2 is going to be Infiltrate. So stats, maybe a little bit of inflation, a little bit of bloat for Infiltrate. Popped off in their series. Stats had them at number 1. Got knocked down a couple pegs just because of where he was in the preseason, who he played.
You can blame me. It's okay.
But
Had
we
him
had
at
him at
3.
number 11 in the preseason. So really good stuff from Infiltrate. I'm curious to see how, even after we play him in week 2, just how these things kind of even out for Hydro Point here, because I would say a 31 KD is not sustainable for a season. So
Maybe.
efficiency ratings have him as the second best overall across everybody.
Okay.
Number 1 would have been their support with the 38 KDA. So we'll have to see what happens when potentially games get a little bit tougher. Who knows? Maybe they just run the whole league.
Maybe.
But I don't expect that to happen.
We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow. That leaves number 1.
Again?
Yeah, Latex Monkey Nuts. Banger name for the top spot overall. OTLO. Stats had him at number 2. No reason to knock him down from that number 1 spot after week 1.
Yeah, and playing with the sub-top laner, even though they're going to run it back again, maybe that could have potentially knocked some junglers down. Still had a very solid showing. One of the best teams, we believe. And it's just tough to fall from the top spot if you and your team are going to play well week to week. So nice showing on the Amumu and what J4 I think. Yep. So yeah, we'll
So
see
there
if
you have it.
that's the jungler to knock off the top of the mountain.
All right, so that'll be it for us. We're gonna come on tomorrow and finish out. No, I'm
What
just
the
kidding. We'll be
hell?
back. We'll be back after a quick break to finish out the rest of the rankings.
Yeah, we'll see. You can either do another poll or we can just rock it, go mid 80 carry support
Let's
next. We'll
just.
see.
Last time we went all crazy. Let's just go mid 80 carry support.
All right, we will be right back with mid power rankings.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sentinels edition of Rivals Run Back. I'm Righteous, joined by CB. We've taken a look back at week one. We looked forward to week two, some matchups. We've gone through top and jungle power rankings. Next up,
And a few more things to go. Yeah, we're going to start with mid lane next. Before we do that, a quick thank you to, I'm going to say, Uba Awesome, Hatred, JCO Poker, and Crispy McChick for the follows. Much appreciated.
much appreciated indeed. We definitely appreciate all the support, especially from LXC for the raid earlier as well.
Yep.
Mid lane power rankings are up next.
A couple ties.
Yeah, a couple ties towards the middle there.
Towards the middle, but
So you
not
can actually be 12th and say you're top 10. There
Sure.
you go. At number 14, Bressinger. I'm unprepared. Was number 13 in the preseason poll. One of the lower ranked members of LXC Sentinel. So not a total surprise. He'd be the caboose for the mid lane rankings, but this whole team had a tough performance week one, and somebody's got to be at the bottom.
Yeah, just a tough looking matchup week one, and they already started towards the bottom anyway. I think they had 2 KP between 2 games, so it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Granted, that's similar trend throughout the team, but somebody has to be last, and unfortunately this week it's going to be Brissinger.
Moving on to lucky number 13. It's Riven. So I alluded to someone being potentially not very happy about their ranking.
How dare you?
That person may or may not have been Riven. You might be wondering why he was at number 8 and everyone thought that was wrong. And not because he was ranked too high. How did he end up at number 13? Of his team, had probably the worst performance for TD Blessing, which, you know, performance is one thing. I think for my side of things, for the actual ranking things, he checked in at number 10. So anything below that, you have CB to blame for. CB.
I had Riven at 13, so it's right. I mean, we had a bunch of ties, so that's where it kind of gets
Yeah.
wonky. But obviously they won. They won against a team that we think's probably the lowest team. And it just kind of looks like the rest of the team was pulling a lot of weight in their win. So again, kind of a tough week to judge off of because they did play DP. We'll see if this is them going in the wrong direction. But with all those ties, we just had Riven just below the 3-way tie.
Just below everybody else. So to put it in perspective, Riven had a 2.8 KDA, which KDA isn't everything, but is kind of indicative of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The next lowest, it was one hand with 6. For the KP, he did really well, about 70%. Damage numbers were up there as well. The CS per minute for mid wasn't the highest, and the gold efficiency wasn't quite there like we would like to see. So, Riven, if you're watching this and you're mad, it's just it's performance a little bit, but it's also a little bit biased. So I expect Riven to climb up as the rankings go on, but we'll have to see. Soul Ram for the 3-way tie for 10th. So this tie, of course, just in alphabetical order. Soul Ram struggled in lane. I will be like completely bluntly honest against Salo. Had some really good roams from Triumphant to kind of help bail him out a couple times. Outside of lane, though, did really well. So a little bit of this is laning, and then a little bit of his, just he didn't have to do a lot for his team to win. His team you could probably say picked up some of Solram's slack. So there he is at number 10.
Yeah, and 10, 11, 12, depending on how you look at it. No,
Yeah,
uh,
somewhere in there.
better than being in the top two. And I think Solram started at 10, so you could technically say they just stayed the same.
Yeah, he didn't have it much of a movement for Solram. Part of that tie is Mundo Man. So had him 7 in the preseason, kind of in that middle third. Um, despite his team picking up a win, uh, didn't put a ton of tape, good tape, as you would say in traditional sports. Wasn't bad by any means, but um, couldn't justify a higher ranking compared to some of these other mids.
Yeah, had a good KP. I mean, a lot of assists, maybe more supportive style mid lane. I don't know. Just looking at the Ori game, Mundo Man did play against a very good mid laner on the other side, but
Mm-hmm.
Sub Zero did pull out the win. So I don't think tied for 10th is bad. It's just stat wise and laning phase wise, lacked a little bit compared to some other people on their team, even though they pulled out
Yeah.
the win.
I don't know where you had Mundo Man, but for stats, he ended up 13th. So,
Okay. Out of 9.
uh,
So
so yeah, kind of right there. I think fairly averaged out. Check your minimap. Um,
didn't
dare I
you say
say,
something earlier?
yeah, yeah. Dare I say the bright spot for DP, in my opinion. I think, if you're DP, I mean, honestly, you're probably just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. Um, so I will temper some expectations. Check your minimap was number 11 for the stats ranking. So not, you know, not a world beater by any means, but was one of the bright spots for DP. Showed some good things. I would say the player to probably play through for that team, but we'll have to see how they approach the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely carried in the damage department at least one of the games. Let's see, both games. Almost at the top both games for their team. So I do think their AD carries also solid, but yeah, not a bad strategy to look at after that week 1 performance. But yeah, check
So,
your minimap. Tie for 10. Can't complain.
yeah, you talking about their damage numbers
Mm.
across their games? Did 32% of his team's damage.
Is that good or bad?
It's really good. Like if you're gonna say like outside of support, everybody contributes
Whoa.
equally. You'd say around 20 to 25% is probably average for top jungle, middle, and AD or bottom, I should
Yeah.
say. So 32 is I would say above average, but it came in a losing effort, so there's always a caveat, but really good stuff.
Yeah. Going to number 9. No more of the ties for 10.
No more of the ties. Millie Bobby Brown, a new player. Oh yeah, check your minimap was number 11, by the way, for the preseason power ranking. So pretty spot on from us. Toot our own horns. But Millie Bobby Brown for CEW coming in at number 9, 8th on the stats rankings. I think you had him at 9th for your rankings or something. So pretty consistent across the board. Didn't have the best KDA. Had 4 solo kills though, which isn't nothing. KPA was pretty low, but had really high damage. So, it's one of those players I think might be lane dominant or more lane focused. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see the games. But right there in the middle of the pack, pretty solidly.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, I know CE has some solid players scattered throughout, but it looks like that might also be a lane to throw more resources towards. Just look at the stats of.
I'm playing through top if I'm CEW, but maybe that top half of
Depends
the
on what
map.
they did first game. They did lose, so maybe I don't know. Either one, pick one of the two. Looks like both their solo laners are solid. So
Yep. I can agree with that. Moving on to number 8, Chrome Alone. Not the best showing from TFF. Not what we expected. Did lose to a good team, so performance isn't everything. Of the TFF members, I'd say him and Efron.
Yep.
Were, really the bottom side with the middle lane there. 74% KP, really good stuff. The vision score was almost 1 a minute for solo lane, which is really good. CS numbers weren't quite where I like them to be for a mid laner. 25% of your team's damage, I don't know, just solid, not overly good, not overly bad. So top of the bottom half for Chrome Alone.
yeah, I don't think that's a bad spot to be coming off of a loss,
Depends
especially
on what your
when
expectations are, but yeah.
Well, sure, yeah, everybody's expectations they already want to have been shown on this list, but they
Yeah.
did play against a very good team, so I could see Chrome Alone climbing up. Granted, there is a pretty solid mid pool
Mid lane
in
pool was really
Sentinel.
good.
Yeah.
Really good. So we have another tie in the mid lane for 6th. As part of that tie is Limestone. I think he was in here earlier. Or it's just another random Limestone IGN. Either way. For Veracity, the Kled aficionado himself. Probably the best performer, either Limestone or Scarlet for Veracity in their loss. 4 solo kills, really good damage, 27% of his team's damage. So, between him and UB Awesome did, I think 60% between those solo lanes, combined. So good stuff from Limestone. Just wasn't able to get the win.
Yeah, played against a good opponent. I foresee Limestone carrying a lot of their games, potentially. I think this is, at least on my rankings, I moved Limestone and everybody above Limestone around quite a bit. And so a lot of them could have went either way. You see, they ended up as a tie anyway. So I just think that the top 7 all season is going to be a chess
He ended
battle.
up at number 6 for me, so kind of spot on with
Yeah, 6 for me.
The eye and the stat test. Limestone firmly at number 6. The other player at number 6 is Corrupt,
who went against Limestone.
Yeah, went against Limestone and came out a little bit worse for wear. Let's see here. I gotta do a better job of organizing my stuff, but of OTLO players, had the lowest KD, had a couple solo kills, but one of the lowest KPs. OTLO played a lot through the bot lane, it looked like. Damage numbers were about average. Good CS, which was good to see. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting having 2 players that played against each other. Obviously, the team that won, Corrupt, being, I guess they're tied. Sorry,
they're tied. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot they're tied.
I'd say Limestone was probably the better player between the 2 mids, but Corrupt got the W. So.
Head to head is only like, did one of them get camped? Is there a bunch of ganks? Blah 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 blah. One had more deaths. One had more. Assists.
Yeah, it'd be different. We could see it's the way we do it should theoretically, as the season goes on, kind of weed out some ties. But
yeah,
for right now, we're going off of what we see on paper and then like our preconceived biases. So, Corrupt got the W. Maybe had a little bit worse stats overall from Limestone, but they were pretty similar, all things considered.
And
I just don't know how the actual games went.
You could argue that it's minus half a point for Limestone playing the same champ, so we don't even know.
Yeah, maybe he's one chick. What did he end up playing?
Cinder both games, I think.
Oh, that's so boring. I'm excited for Limestone's pool. Um, as the season goes on, see if he pulls out some crazy stuff. Number 5, Salo, Fall from Grace, from number 1 to number 5. Had a little bit of a rough time with a very long best of 3. Laning phase, I had no qualms with. I had plenty of qualms with other stuff. I held him to a high standard because I think he could really be what makes our team go. Just needs to think things through a little bit. And not int on bot for fun.
And have an extra keyboard.
Yeah, has a keyboard ready this time. I've been told. Switched to wired, just for us.
True. So yeah, I guess you could say one of the few players maybe that falls out of the top 3 from preseason, but also one of the very few players on any of the lists that lost their game and is still top 5. So
Yeah.
just depending on
So
how you want to look at it.
stats had him at number 3. So your owner and manager
That's
put you lower
crazy.
than that.
That's crazy. That's
Red
crazy.
Sharky. Oh,
Okay.
I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil. But
Spoiler
the
alert.
2 players above him, I think one might be a little bit inflated, and then one's actually really good. So we'll have to see as the season goes
Okay.
on how it shakes out. But number 4, Stink Pickle. Turns out not to be a sub. Was in our stream last
Oh, yeah.
time. Before we got the news that he'd be starting. Uh, you know, it was weird. Like we keep talking about how Roar's individual stats look pretty good. Stink Pickle almost a 4 KDA, 64% KD, almost 900 damage a minute, 27% of his team's damage. Did all the right things, except for the CS numbers could definitely use a little bit of a boost, but didn't get the win.
You don't need CS if you're going double-digit kills every game, right? Oh, almost every game. I
Why
guess
not do
so.
that and get CS?
I guess so if you lost, but
Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe that was the difference.
yeah. So I guess we have two people at least in the top 5 that have a loss. I think I had Pickle top 2 or 3. It's tough having the loss on your record, but definitely.
Stats have been number 5, so even without the winner loss bias,
Because they were trying
removed,
to help the team late game.
Yeah. But no, I mean, really solid player. Didn't get the win week 1. We'll have to see how they do week 2. But like I said, I mean, mid lane pool for Sentinel is really good.
Yeah.
So Red Sharky, stats have him at number 2. I don't think you had him nearly as high.
I'm at 4.
Uh,
The hell? Why are you trying to throw me under the bus, people?
I was just trying to throw you under the bus, trying to make you the bad guy.
Oh, Righteous,
Uh,
since you just said one of these 2 players is super inflated, could you please tell us
Yeah.
which one it is?
So I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fan of sustainability. I don't think, a 13.5 KDA is sustainable. The 2 solo kills were good. 73% KP is really good. The CS per minute is what gives me some hesitation. A little over 5. So we'll have to see if Red Sharky can keep it up, or was he just a benefactor of good team play. I will say, our HBB put on a solid performance week 1.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if his individual performance is sustainable.
Okay, yeah, say it with your chest, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's tough. We're about to play and we can't say too much, no. But similar to who was it? Limestone, Red Sharky also played the same champ both games.
31 trick. That knocked you down. I was kidding.
So was it Galio?
I had all the good champs.
Oh, okay, yeah, not important. No, did play Galio both
You
games.
I don't. I just look at the numbers because I'm a nerd.
What the hell? Fucking nerd alert. But no, play the Galio and I think died 1 time both games, maybe 1 or 2
Yeah.
times. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, top 3 is definitely where you want to be. We'll see if they can stay there. Hopefully, we knock Red Sharky down all the way to 14, but we'll see.
To put it in perspective, Red Sharky started at number 12, so
Okay,
quite a big
biggest
jump.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm, concerned about sustainability. But I mean, week 1 was a win for Sharky. Silent Assassin number 2. Stats have been before, so definitely top 5 player thus far. PLW kind of consistently kind of in the top 5 for most of their roster, if not all of it. I will say not the most lane dominant mid laner. CS, wasn't very high, but the KP and overall team fight presence, I think went a long way for Silent Assassin.
Yeah, I mean, solo laner on one of the best teams, you're expected to be in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Broke out the Nico and Nico and the Echo. So definitely some champs that can get some kills. I can see Silent Assassin staying top 5 all season, but not to put any pressure on them. But yeah, definitely a good showing against what I think is going to be a solid TFF team.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. That leaves number 1. Drum roll. Drakenrich. Guy who said no to the stream, didn't want anybody to see him pop off.
Yeah, I wanted to rank him like 14, 13. I've never in my life seen a team not want to be streamed, but hey, I guess not leaking strats. We'll see. I don't know.
So, crazy stat of the day. We've had a lot of good stats. Crazy stat of the day. 9 solo kills for Drakenrich.
The hell, Millie Bobby, what were you doing?
I don't know. I don't know if the solo kill stat that LXC does is purely by lane, but either way, whether it's in lane or in sides or whatever, I'm able to get a lot of solo kills for Drakenrich. Almost 1,000 damage per minute. Nothing to scoff at. 31% of his team's damage. So I think there's a reason Drakenrich did not want to get streamed, because I don't think he wants people, target banning and trying to put down this mid laner. But super solid performance. Despite BLM being pretty low in our overall team rankings in the preseason, it was number 5 coming into the season for mid lane. So really good player.
Yeah, I mean, and they went game 3, and Drakenrich popped off game 3 to pull out the victory. So I don't know. Do you need a ban Vex? Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see indeed. So there you have it. Mid lane power rankings. Take a screenshot. Oh, never mind. It's gone.
Too slow.
Your receipts. They'll be a bod.
Yeah.
Moving on to bottom lane rankings. A couple ties as well. This time only with a couple players, so that's good. Number 14. Xarxes. I'm saying Xarxes.
I thought it was BKs. What the hell?
Xarxes.
Oh,
Either way, looking at Xarxes here, anytime you come out of a week with a 0.46 KD, it's gonna be pretty tough.
Yeah.
Not the worst on his team though. So that's
but the only role with the word carry in it, so it's kind of tough. But
bottom. Where's carry?
Oh yeah, new meta.
Yep.
AP AD carry.
72% KP was very good, but everything else across the board, somebody's got to be in last. Unfortunately for Xarxes, that is you.
Yep, only up from here.
Yeah. Or just plateauing and constantly being 14th. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because then I'd feel really bad. Veracity Praetors. So I don't know what happened. If there's a Veracity player here, I would love to know what happened to the bot lane, because looking at the squad, right? So I'll just read the KDAs top to bottom, but I'll leave Praetors for the end. 1.55, 1.59, 2.56, 2.11, and then Praetors 0.75 with a 25% KD, only doing 15% of his team's damage from the bot lane. Like, did the guy just wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Was it a hiccup? Like, can we expect more from Praetors? Or, like, what? It's just so bizarre. I've never seen anything like that. Usually, like, the KDs are pretty similar across, the team. Like, the KPs, the damage. But, I mean, it's just like Praetors just had an off day.
Yeah, hey, everybody gets one. Might as well use
Yeah.
it week 1.
Yeah.
They did play against a solid opponent and solid bot lane. Um, but yeah, we expect Pradles to climb, just letting us down week 1.
Yeah, I have to pull up the preseason rankings. Had him at 10, so honestly, not too far of a fall, but it was weird. I was going through these stats and I was like, these don't even look right, but everybody gets an off day. DP Rico up next for number 12. Number 13, last season's rankings, or last season, preseason rankings. Uh, Not a lot was expected, but lived up to expectations, I
What
guess.
the hell?
I don't
Yeah,
know how else to
that's
explain it.
that's a tough less than 6k damage. I only went 1 and 2. That's just to me. I guess for any role, it's weird to see like you lose a game and you have 1 or 2
One
deaths.
KP.
I mean 1 KP,
Oh,
yeah, but also just like 1 or 2 deaths. It's like that's just the whole team thing. I think.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I think that they could play through 80 carry. Compared to mid, I might say Rico over. Check your mini map, but we'll see which one of us are
Had
correct
really
on
good
who they will
farm. I will
carry.
say, I'm a big farm believer. Had 7.5 farm, CS per minute, which for 80 carry, everybody wants to aim for 10, but I'll be honest, probably one of the highest for Sentinel. Just so you guys are aware, 7.5 is pretty high for you guys.
So,
Um,
okay. What do you mean, you people?
I'm above you. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
hits a diamond once.
uh, I'm just saying, like, if you're aiming for challenger and you want to be a pro, I have not been a challenger, nor am I a pro. 10 CS per minute is like the gold standard, so 7.5 really isn't that bad for Sentinel here. It just didn't translate to a lot of damage or a lot of team success, so we'll have to see if they put it together.
Mm-hmm. 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 Tied for
Iron
10.
Sniper tied for 10. One of the few CEW players we had him at number 5 in
Ooh,
the preseason power rankings.
okay, a little bit of a drop.
A little bit of a drop. 1.6 KDA. Didn't have a 2 out of a KP. Damage was middle of the pack. Uh, 7.64 CS per minute. So this guy's farming minions. Just didn't seem like it amounted to much. Maybe it's just the way that they trying to play through Prussian. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
had interesting champs that we don't see a ton in competitive play, even at our measly little elo.
hmm
A Vayne and 2 Nylas, whatever tickles your fancy,
Yeah, kind of a weird champ pool
which I
just for
like.
comp.
I mean, they did get double banned at least one of their games, maybe. Yeah, so did is pulling some bans. So then you can blame your solo laners for not carrying.
True. Uh, uh, I don't know. I don't know. I think DP Rico is actually casts for LXC as well. Really smart individual player. Just not clicking for the team overall. BK's tied for 10th. Um, you lane with him. What do you got to say?
Yeah, all right. Uh, I mean, chill. Let's see what we got going on. Learning
So
a new role forcibly against his will. So there's the baseline. So still learning. We're still scaling down here. I think we started with him at 6 last week, so a little bit of a fall. I think all of our players probably did. Um, Scuffed game is the excuse of the day. Um, Losing power. He didn't need me. I was just trying to test on whether he actually needed me game 1. That's why I shut my power off. Um,
hmm.
but no, I don't think tied 10th is bad coming off of a loss. Um,
Yeah, I mean CS well, good gold per minute. I will say it ended with the worst KDA than the the support that DC'd in game 1. So maybe it's because he DC'd, didn't have the support to keep him alive. No, I mean just tough for them for game one. Game two. I mean, I will say in terms of like consistency, from my perspective, probably was the most consistent player for us. Didn't really ever overtly run it down. I would say the majority of the deaths for him came in game three, games one and two. Uh, or sorry, game one, I should say. Games two and three, played really solid. So, uh,
Maybe,
23%
maybe
of the team's damage. I mean,
not bad, not bad, not bad. Maybe the only player that was forced by his coach to play the same champ 3 times in a row. But
yeah,
no, I'm
true.
just kidding. I don't know. We'll
Uh,
see. It's
we had
hard.
the option for something else game three, but they said no. So,
Oh, all right. It's all BK's
uh,
fault.
number BK's ended up number 11 in the stats. Iron Sniper at 10. So the tie between both our rankings there.
That's a biased tie.
For clarity, Ferdy, BK's lane opponent, number 9. So the question arises, why the fall off? He was number 7. We expected him to kind of rise as him and Triumphant played. Uh, Ending up at number 9 this week. Stats had him at 9.
Okay, and I put him at 9. What a
Uh,
coincidence.
so there you go. You laned against him.
Yeah, I guess.
Any I guess
Uh,
insights or observations?
it's tough because I think did we say what they were first week? I guess middle pack still. Um, I expected Furry to be top 5. Obviously we haven't played all the other teams. Um, I don't know if it's the bias of feeling better that BKs and I are getting better bot lane or what, but I felt pretty solid. I still know
Yeah,
Freddy and Triumphant are going to be one of the better bot lane duos. So I don't think Ferdy ever is going to drop out of the top 10, but a little bit lower than I would have expected Ferdy to fall. Granted, we're all of
I'll
one
give
weekend.
you I'll give you my coach's take. I think Ferdy did a lot to let Triumphant roam the way he did across 3 games. And I think because of that, I think that's where some of the stats took a hit. I will say the Ferdy Triumphant lane um into you guys wasn't like, we had this really high expectation like, oh, they might run us over. Didn't really happen even in the game, that game 3 where the Lucian started popping off. It wasn't really going like that until we decided to chain into him.
True.
Um,
Don't give Ferdy a few free kills because then he will run away with it.
yeah. But I will say like outside of lane or even in lane, what he was able to do to unlock Triumphant was really good. Just playing safe, playing smart, trying to manage the wave even by himself. And then showing up for team fights and doing the AD carry thing. So um, it was good. I mean, a little bit of a drop off, I would say, not just because of the way Fruity played, but also because of some stellar performances from other AD carries or bottom laners. Sorry.
True, true, true. Yeah, I don't think Ferdy falls out of the top 10. So chilling there. Stoic, I feel like yeah, Stoic, we had 14th last week. I don't know if I guess that was just our on paper.
It was on paper. I think he was the lowest solo queue um, bottom laner, and then paired with one of the lowest solo queue supports. We didn't have very high expectations for BLM. Was our justification.
But Stoic popped off, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Ezreal, Zaya, and Misfortune. Solid games, all 3 games. Pulled out the 2-1 win over CE and Iron Sniper sitting at 10th. So Stoic probably one of the 80 carries that climbed the highest.
Yeah. I mean,
I think if they didn't start 14, they'd probably even be higher. Um,
yeah, stats had him at 6, so pretty close to at least what the stats would rank him. Um, Solid stuff. That's why I said I think BLM probably the most surprising performance. I thought on paper CW was the better team, but I was wrong. BLM's got that special sauce cooking, and
True.
Stoic was a part of that. So
Yeah. True.
Macho 0000 or too many zeros. Anyways, Macho won. Number 7, sticking on the theme of role players doing well in the loss. 3.43 KDA, about 60% KP. Good CS numbers, solid damage. Didn't get the dub.
Yeah, I didn't get the dub, so probably sitting, a spot or two higher. Maybe if you pull out the dub, I don't know. You gotta translate all the
He
good
was
stats to something, but
number 7 on stats too. So
okay. I don't
there
even
you
know.
go.
Yeah, I had him at 6, so fair enough. That's, top half, nothing to be upset about.
Yeah. I think Roy just needs to kind of sit down and figure out how to win some games, how to pull it out.
Yeah, how dare they be 0-1?
Efron, number 6. Number 8 in the stats, so a little bit higher than what the stats indicate. I think along the lines of we think TFS is going to be a good team. They lost to a very good team. Was the best performing member of his team, almost a 4 KDA, 84% KP coming out of ADC, is really high. Solid damage, solid CS. Actually, a little bit low on the CS side, but
Highest on the team. Highest on their team.
yeah,
10,
highest on their
10
team.
assists on AD carry feels bad, so blame your team for.
Gotta right click last hit better, but no, I mean solid performance. Didn't get the dub. I don't know. TFF kind of turning into a team to watch to see if they could put it together.
Yeah,
I
one of those
wish.
teams where you lose first week, but it only means a little bit, especially when you're playing against a good team. So it's kind of like a warm up game.
World game. One hand, bringing us to the top 5. TD Blessed, solid performance. So Efron, of course, wasn't on the bottom lane rankings, but One Hand was rising all the way up from number 11.
Okay. It's tough. It's one of those where you don't want to say it's inflated because they did play against one of the bottom teams in dropping points. So we'll see if this is actual stats or not. But yeah, you go 9-1 and 10-3, you're gonna be top 5.
That's happened number 4, so kind of right there. Maybe dinged a little bit because of the strength of the opponent, but solid performance. Can't complain. Ventropy, number 2 is what he would have ended just from purely statistics. And this OSG team, kind of on the flip side, it's like the opposite of TFF. I didn't really have too high of expectations. Ventropy actually one of the lower ranking, solo queue ranking ADCs. But get this stat: 1,247 damage per minute is pretty dang good.
Yeah. I was thinking,
34% of your team's damage. They're playing through bot, I think.
yeah, that was on the Zai game popped off. Oh, Jinx, yeah. 18-3 on Jinx, I can only imagine was a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, resets on resets on resets. CS numbers are solid, so I mean, Ventropy kind of turning into a player to watch for myself, if not for the rest of the Sentinels. Kakino, OTLO, good player on a good team, highest KDA for that good team, is always good. Solid damage numbers, good CS. I think stats had him at number 3, tied for second there, so good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I had him at 3. Nice MF game and Kaisa game. So, and they played what I would say is a solid opponent in No Veracity, but we'll see if they can stay in that top tier that we have him in. Top two.
Uh,
Top two.
Top 2, Nike Dragon. Um, Dinged, but not really. I think it was more so your number 1 player that we'll talk about in a second really popped off. So Nike Dragon right up there as expected. I don't know, dude. Plasma Wolves have really good players in every position.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a blessing and a curse because you look at that team and like I wouldn't even say Nike Dragon really popped off compared to any of his teammates. Maybe even Silent Assassin played a little bit better than him. Over 1,000 damage per minute though. Decent CS numbers. Decent KP. Did about 30% of his team's damage. So as expected for Nike Dragon, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's the 1-2 spot, maybe even or 1-2-2 spots. I think are all pretty close to being interchangeable. Seems like we have a theme going with PLM players being number 2. I feel like I keep seeing that.
PLW, thank you.
PLW, BLM, PLW. But yeah, Nike Dragon. We had what we have 1 last week.
Yeah, we got last one. It's Key. Key was number
Okay.
2, so I
Just a little
think
swap
we
around.
did pretty solid. We didn't really have high expectations coming in for Hydro Pump Black Tip, but we thought Key was gonna be really good. Turns out their team might be good, and he is as advertised.
Yeah. We will get to see that one tomorrow. But yeah, had Key number 2, rising up to number 1 with a good performance week 1 against Avalanche. Playing Misfortune. I feel like almost at least half the 80 carries broke out the Misfortune week 1.
Yeah. We'll have to see if it continues. Quick stat before we run to a break. Almost 9 CS per minute for Key. Did about 1,100 damage per minute. 35% of his team damage. Crazy. We'll be back for support rankings after this.
Support and team rankings. And
True.
team.
Welcome back to what might be the last leg of this Rivals Roundup, Rivals Recap, whatever we decided to call this thing. Going to go over some support power rankings and then what everybody wants to see, the team power rankings.
No, what everybody wants to see is the support rankings, and since
Yeah,
they're
you're
already
true.
here, they'll just might as well just stick around for the team rankings. But
True.
yep, shout out to Kia Kuma for the follow, much appreciated, and we can hop into support.
Hop into support with last, number 14, I should say, the Caboose. Billy Butthole, our biggest faller across all positions. Somebody had to be it. Unfortunately, it was Billy. Preseason rankings had him at number 4. So quite a dip.
Whew.
Stats have him at 14. Wasn't a great showing for his whole team. When your whole team averaged for less than 1 KD, it's gonna be tough sledding.
Yeah,
And
was put on two. I mean, obviously they can play support, but two jungle champs in Sejuani and Poppy, I believe. Not that might completely be irrelevant, but it's important to me playing support. Maybe he's taking the flex pick in stride.
did he play? Do you think he played jungle, or
I
was
don't
he
know.
just
Maybe.
playing?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe jungle player. But no, not two champs I don't
I mean,
really
Novocaine
love.
played, so I think, yeah,
But yeah, just
yeah,
tough.
tough. Maybe it was because of the ball lane pairings. Either way, somebody had to be number 14, and for this week it is Novocaine. Number 13, the theme of close but not last, dropping point, Hellfire never knows best. Number 8 in our preseason power rankings, so dropping out of that middle third is never knows best. You know, just
Tough games.
wasn't a great showing, and it was, kind of team wide, and kind of the same thing for them as with Billy. The performance hurt them.
Yeah, low KPs. Granted, the whole team did. I will say, Never Knows Best did pull what looks like 2 bans first phase both games, so that's important to note. I'll say, if
There
you're
you go.
pulling 2 bans as support, you just yell at the rest of the team for not doing enough. That's my excuse. They can use it. It's okay.
Number 12.
What the hell?
Blizzard diff. I
Yeah,
don't know, CB. Justified or no?
is
Honest reacts.
it's only up from here. I won't drop any lower probably. In my mind, I will just use the excuse that I lost power and didn't get to play game 1. But I don't know. We lost, so
Game 3 could have been better.
game 3 could have been better. Hell, game 2 could have been better.
Yep.
So we'll see. I'll take it as motivation, I guess.
But the highest KD for all Rivals players.
What the hell? I've seen some bias before. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's okay. Somebody has to be 12. Some people were saying Tom Brady was number 12. That's what people were saying.
Okay. Another tie for number 10. Seems like a lot of people like tying for 10. Veracity Scarlet. Despite the lack of ADC pressure for that first week 1 match, Scarlet had a pretty decent, solid series. Like I said, it's just I've never seen anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know.
They said fluke week. They said.
They said it was fluke week.
So that's okay. We can give them one fluke week.
So yeah, I mean, I had good KP. Well, let me walk that back. I had better KP than the AD. Good vision score. 2.3 a minute. It's pretty good. So
Did have good.
Foxhound Kaz. I don't know if they're gonna be a sub or a starter or what. For CEW.
CE doesn't have a starter last I checked. So I don't. Yeah, weird roster composition. But this is who played week 1.
Yeah, this is who played. as such, they will be ranked. 2 vision score a minute, pretty dang good. Over 60% KP. Not the best for support, but not the worst. So right there towards the middle.
Yeah, broke out the Galio support. So that's always interesting. I feel like you either hard end Galio support or you have a lot of patience. So looks like it worked. That was the game they won. So
There you go.
I'll pull it out again. I don't know.
Pull it out again. Number 9.
Brute Souls.
Brute Souls, BLM. You know, right kind of with Stoic there. Didn't have quite as good a performance as the AD, but AD carries the glory roll anyways. Brute Soul's doing a lot to prop up Stoic. I'm saying support doesn't get. They're like the offensive linemen, you know. AD carries at the quarterback. There's no reward for offensive linemen. Brute Souls, really solid stuff. 4-3 KDA. 62% KP. Did quite a bit of damage as support. Did 14% of his team's damage, which is wild. Solid vision score. Not the best, not the worst. Number 9. Pretty fair shake for Brute Souls. Was number 9 for the stats side of things as well.
Yeah, and they went against Foxhound, so for a series that goes 3 games, makes sense that they are pretty close to each other.
Talk about biggest risers. Brute Souls was number 13, so not the biggest jump, but quite a good push for them. The top of the bottom half, Adrian Legitness for Roar. Let me pull up my notes here.
Oh, got to pull out the Poppy Jinx. Interesting pairing. Carry the team in vision. Adrian needs to tell the jungler to step it up on the vision. Help. I'd say 8th place is not.
Almost 3 vision score per minute.
Oh yeah.
Wild.
Dropped a 138 bomb on the Tom Glizzy. So trying to help the team do some stuff.
Yeah. Did 10% of his team's damage, which is a support. You know, not horrible. I will say the KP there below 50, right at 48%. Kind of interesting. It looks like it was a bunch of individual play for Roar, not a lot of team effort. So maybe that's where it went wrong. Anyways, the bottom of the top half, Dorsky, OSG. I keep saying OSG because I'm worried that I'm gonna get the wrong team.
Yeah, this one's Sub-Zero who went against Adrian, so back-to-back opponents. Looks like game 1 wasn't close, but they pulled out the victory over R. I don't think they played the same champs. No. 29 assists on the Recon and 117 vision score. That's what we like to see.
But we mostly just CB because
that's right. I know the importance. I know the importance. Nobody will say good job about. That's okay. I know.
Was number 7 in the statistics ranking as well. So pretty good stuff from Dorsky. Was number 12 last go around. So
rising up.
High riser. Poodle 25 for TFF. Gonna be coming in at number 6. I mean, the bottom lane for TFF looked really solid. 92% KP for Poodle. Really, really good. Solid vision score, 2.75. Did just about everything right for their team. So the losing effort, you can't really point at Poodle and Efron.
True. Blame everybody. It's just blame everybody.
Yeah, everybody else. Okay. Yeah.
No. Solid.
That's what healthy good teams do. Just blame everybody else.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's okay. It's all in good fun, probably, maybe. As long as you know them well enough. But yeah, playing against one of the best teams, can't take the loss too bad. But I think jumped 1 spot from last week. Yeah, So
Yep.
jumped a spot from last week. So going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction. Number 5, bringing in the top 5, going to be Aoka for PLW. So I think of all the Plasma Wolves members, Aoka is the lowest ranked at number 5, which is wild.
I also think they
Um,
started the lowest. So I called it. They were gonna
They
climb
also,
quick.
yeah,
So
started at number 10 um, in our preseason rankings. Uh, good players on good teams usually end up towards the top. What is there to say about Aoka? Anything standing out to you?
I got to play two pretty much opposite champs in the Emilio and Maokai. Uh, gave one of the best teams the pairing of Misfortune Maokai, so it's kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out for him. So
76% KP, really good. Not the highest vision score numbers, but definitely not the lowest.
no.
So there you go. Tie for number 3. Part of that tie, half of that tie. It's gonna go to Lunar Paw of OTLO. Once again, on the themes of good players and good teams. OTLO, definitely one of the teams to beat right now. 65% KP for Lunar Paw, solid vision, like most of the top half of the supports. Good stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. Just like we gave Veracity the what is it? Week 1 fluke. We'll see if OTLO can confirm whether or not that was a fluke or not. If they stay up, a lot of their players in the top 5. So we'll see if they just play well every week or if Scarlet and Prado just had a bad week against them.
Yeah. The last half of the top 3 is Slivik. So stats. Talking about stat inflation, would have been number 1. I think it is safe to say that the 38 KDA is not sustainable. But the KP 68%, really good. Vision score a tad low for the top 5 supports, but when you're dropping a 38 KD and a quick 2-0 match win, you're gonna be rising pretty fast.
Yeah, as we have Key, Slivik's 80 carry at 1. Slivik died 1 time between 2 games. It'll be my goal. I don't care if we win or lose tomorrow. I'm just gonna make sure Slivik dies more than once between 2 games.
Yeah, that's the goal. Win or lose, we just want to bring down the KDA of Slivik. Just kidding. Number 2, top 2, sub XL Physiology.
Is it a sub?
So I think Barbaric Champion was or is their starter. Can you confirm if that's who they're gonna run week 2?
It's still roster wise. Starter. Let's see, what team is this? TD.
TD Blessings. Blessed. I don't know why I struggle with them.
It's going to be Barbaric Champion for week 2 is the plan. So,
All right. Well,
might be the only time we see Physiology. I can
Physiology. Number 2, good showing for a sub.
Mm-hmm. How dare you?
Number 2.
How dare they sub him out?
Yeah, true. At least about a top 2 player. Where do I have their stats
They did play dropping point, so that's something to note.
of note?
Died once on the Nami and once on the Milio. So just
Yep.
1 death a game, solid vision.
72% KP.
Solid.
Good stuff.
Yeah, they had a sub 25-minute game, so it's kind of tough to judge stats that
To
game.
rack up the vision.
yeah, it is. But yeah, we'll see how they fare week 2 against what I assume is going to be a stronger opponent.
Well, they're not gonna be playing, so we'll never know. Uh, number
That's true.
one.
That'll be 2 forever.
Yeah. Triumphant. Stats had him at 3. We had him number 1 in the preseason ranking. No reason to drop him. Did a lot for his team. Effective roams. 8.67 KDA. Really good. 77% KP. Solid vision above 2 a minute. Not much else to say for Triumphant. It's like you know, when people do well, they're expected to do well, and they don't do it like in a flashy way. I always think of like Tim Duncan, just like Mr. Fundamentals, just did what he needed to do, got the dub. That was that.
True. Got the dub, solid stats, and you were already ranked number 1, so why rock the boat at all?
Why rock the boat? Indeed. All right, everybody, wake up, sit up in your chair, do some jumping jacks, something.
What
'Cause
the?
we got
Let me make sure I got the right one on here.
the preseason. That's not the right one. I don't
I
think.
don't know.
Definitely changed it.
I don't know.
You don't know. Did
Let
we
me
do
see.
teams first last time?
I don't know.
No, we did them last.
Oh, how do I even check it without messing it up?
Just let this one play. Does it say CE White?
True. It's your fault.
It is my fault.
It's your fault.
I thought I changed it.
Maybe you
I
did.
did change it. You just didn't get the updated one.
You shouldn't have been wrong the first time.
Yeah.
Power ranking system.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I don't get paid enough for all this. Anyways, let me see if I actually. I'm curious now.
We're about to find out. Oh yeah, you did. You did.
Okay.
You were wrong the first time. That's okay.
I was wrong the first time. That's why we proofread, double check, so that when it gets to the stream, it's
What the
right.
hell?
Anyways, OSGA, tough week. It's been said repeatedly throughout the stream. Number 14. So we're going strictly off of CB's rankings. LXC staff members, are you
fucked
still
up.
here? If you're still here, can you look at the vision score numbers between Sector 1 and Sector 2? Because there's something not right between the two of them. And I couldn't, in good faith, do my stats base rankings when they were so wildly different. That's my one request. So we get the CB iteration this week.
Okay, so it's strictly my fault.
No, we're in it together. I'll back you up.
It's too late now.
I'll back you up.
You already
but
told them.
yeah, but it's just you. I'll back you up, but it's just you. And if
Okay.
there's anything that I don't agree with, I'll just say it was your fault. Anyways,
Okay. Are we good so far with the one?
yeah, good so far. 14, I think, was deserved by OSGA,
Tough.
which
So
feels bad to say. That sounded harsh, but it was not a good showing. So somebody's got to be
that just
in the
means
caboose.
that just means our next opponent will underestimate him.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
Mhm.
that's what they're doing. They're trying to hook, line, and sinker every other week. Number 13, DPH. Wasn't a great performance, but slightly better than OSGA. A little bit more to hang their hats on in terms of, potential players to play through or what to look for. But wasn't that great.
Yeah, and they were DPH was 11 and OSGA was 12. So they both just fell 2 spots. Somebody's got to be at the bottom. Somebody has to be at the bottom, and and just not great showings. Tough opponents, at least for DPH. Who did OSGA play? I forget already. Hydro Pump. So 2 at least solid opponents. But yeah, up from here.
Yeah. Up from here, indeed. Number 12. Dum. CEW. One of the teams to go the full 3 games. Team that can only be assumed is still putting it together with such a late uh, roster lock. Um,
Yeah, I
I don't know.
think for me the bottom two were pretty clear, and then like 12 through like 4 or 5 are the very top and the very bottom are easy-ish. That sounds mean, but middle's where it get kind of tough. Obviously, they went 3 games, but
Yeah.
they lost. Their maybe silver lining is they just now finally got a team together. I don't know if they've been playing together and players just didn't get their registration in. But I don't know. A loss is a loss, and they started at 14, so you can look at it as they climbed 2 spots.
Yeah, I mean they did, right? So they're on their way up technically. But yeah, I would agree with the ranking so far. It's gonna get tough. So number 11, BLM. We had them at 13, and they ended up getting a win. I, th- it's always hard to judge. Is the team overachieving, or did we get it wrong in the preseason? So number 11, I think is fair. Maybe it could have been 1 spot, maybe 2 spots higher, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I think 9, 10, 11 are all. It was really tough. Obviously preseason is just shot in the dark. Week 1 is also tough because you could have them wrong. You could have their one opponent that they've played wrong
mhm.
also. So just not a lot to go off of. I at least put them above the team they beat. So there's that.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll have to see if BLM continues to rise, or if you know, we were closer to right on the preseason. 10 Roar. One of the bigger fallers was number 3. Now all the way at number 10, looking at the stats, has all the tools to put together a pretty solid season, but was concerning to see that despite, individual efforts being average or even above average in some cases, losing 2-1. Um, did we rank them too low? I don't know.
I had them a few spots higher, and then I was like, okay, am I just being biased because I want them to do well, and because I know they have players that are good? Um, and so I had to, take a step back. Well, they lost,
Yeah.
and they hurt my feelings, and so here they are. They are above a team that got a win, so there's a small victory there. Um,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah,
lost
that's. I think
Sub-Zero.
as we fill out this more and more, I'm gonna kind of take a step back and say like, okay, Roar's at 10. Could they beat number 9 and number 11? Like, is it justified
Hmm.
or kind
Tough
of
after
thing?
1 week, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough after 1 week, but that's basically what I'm gonna go off of because like I said, I couldn't really 100% go off. I mean, vision isn't everything, but uh, it's a big part of how good or bad a team can be is how well they play vision. So I didn't want to let the results be skewed. Anyways, HPB off of a stomp.
Okay,
Um,
okay, okay, okay.
Number
Uh,
10 only raising up 1 spot
what the?
despite a dominant 2-0 win.
I
CB.
think my thought was the team they played. I don't think is best. Is very good. Obviously, we have them at 14, or I have them at 14, I guess. I think they would have ended up 14. So to me, it was I don't know if that's gonna be like a consistent thing, or if they just played a 13th or 14th team.
Hmm.
Also, I kind of thought this is my excuse for all of them that it would be balanced out with the actual stats. So a lot of mine is not hard stat based because it's supposed to be balanced out with yours. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, that's my excuse since we're about to play.
You're relying on me, so you're trying to blame me for
No.
this.
I'm just saying it's supposed to
Yeah,
balance out. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
if you were like, well, our stats are like better than the
Well,
next
you would
four
have had him like
teams.
1 or 2, probably.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it was just based on stats, and then you can just look at the official LXC standing. So that's not exactly
Hmm.
what we're doing here. But I don't know. That's just a bunch of excuses because we're about to play them. So I'm not trying to jinx myself.
All right, number 8. Who do we have? Veracity. So Veracity, a team that lost above HPB. Now, granted, they lost to, I would say, one of the top 5. We'll say top 5 since we're doing the rankings. Definitely a good team in OTLO. So I mean, you can say it was a quality loss, but a loss is a loss.
True. Loss is
Uh,
a loss.
I think for based off of just week 1 results, I think it's fair to have them above number 9. I think the expectations are maybe still a little bit above HPB. But after week 2, I wonder what will happen. I think the middle of the pack, this middle third that we talk about, it's gonna be hard to tell based off of what week 1 sample size.
Yeah. And no veracity was at 4. So it's not like we're
It's not like
discrediting
they
the
didn't
fact that they
drop.
lost.
Yeah.
They dropped a few spots. They just, since it was against a good team, they didn't drop all the way down to the bottom. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen some bias before, man. That's fucking
I mean, you're the one that put us here. Um,
seen some bias, man. Where were we?
so
7.
we were at 7, and we kept our spot. Um, uh, what can I say without divulging too much?
Without
I
making all the excuses for us.
All right, I'll be biased. I don't think week 1 was indicative of how well we could perform. At the same time, I have to gauge like, so Veracity HPB are right below us. We're about to play HPB. Do we think we're similar in skill level? Probably. Do we think we could beat them?
Well, hopefully we say yes to.
Probably.
Hopefully we say yes against any team.
Oh yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like most any team would say that.
My 100% bias is like, yeah, I think we could beat any team in this league. But I'm trying to judge based off of our week 1 performance. I tell you what, if we play like we did game 3, we're not beating anybody.
True.
So there's my coach talk coming out. But like I said, I don't think it's indicative of how well we're going to be playing. So I think 7 is okay. I mean, I would probably would have done us maybe 1 or 2 spots just because of how game 3 went. But I think it's fine.
I wonder if it's because, let's see, 1, 2 of the teams dropped below us.
Yeah, Veracity
so
dropped below.
It's just because of that. Just
Yeah,
because the
so-
teams around us moved. And like I said, I think the probably the hardest one to do was 9 through 4.
Like that middle third.
That was super tough because you only have one matchup to go off of. So is their opponent good or bad? Blah blah blah. But bunch of excuses. We'll see.
Trends will develop as more weeks go by. Number 6, be OSGS. Was number 9 in the previous rankings. Did OSGA's color change there? That's funny.
Or is it just because the background?
No, I think they were white text before the slide, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, true.
Anyways, one of our biggest risers, like you're saying, teams moving around, had a solid performance. They ended up beating Roar, which we had in the top 3 in the preseason, so I think a well-deserved bump. Now the question is, is Roar going to end up being a good team, or is OSGS just better, or are they overachieving after week 1? Tough to tell, but I would say 6 is fair.
Yeah, I think after week 2 is gonna be the biggest like clarity compared to any of the week changes. So between one going to 2, because that'll actually tell us if we're just way off on 1 or 2 teams or whatnot. So we'll see. I think 6. I feel good on all of them. I don't know.
I mean, that's why you made them, right?
I put them there for a reason. I don't know.
It did.
Who knows?
Anyways, I think next week if I can get mine working, it'll maybe do some stuff for us,
Yeah, we got
and we'll
five
have
five
bigger sample
minutes,
size.
5.5 minute speed run for the top
All
five.
right, 1 minute per team. NLE beating rivals at number 7, rising to number 5. They were number 6. 1 point bump for them. Solid team. Uh,
Yeah, solid team, solid players. It's obviously saying it from rivals' perspective. It just sounds like a bunch of excuses, but it's tough. We didn't get a full, or no one can see the full picture of how they perform in 3
I'll
games.
give you
So
my 100% bias take. I think we beat them game 1 and we won game 2. So it should have been a 2-0 is what I'm gonna say.
no,
That's my
shoulda, woulda,
bias
no shoulda, woulda,
take.
coulda.
I
Okay,
say
okay,
I said it full.
all
I'll
right,
I'll be 100%
okay.
honest. I'm like coping like any sports fan would, but I
Sure.
think 5 is deserving top 5 for sure. Um, anyways, number 4.
This one was tough. Obviously, TFF's above a bunch of teams that got wins. What, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think.
Yeah, so TFF was number 1 though,
Yeah,
in our
that's why.
preseason rankings, and they lost to what was the number 5 team, um, which they're not on the list yet. So it is kind of it's like a trade-off. They kind of passed each other in the night, ship sailing in the night, ended up pretty close in this week's ranking. So I would say fair. I would say fair.
Yeah. So if they were maybe ranked fourth to begin with, they would drop some more spots. But yeah, sitting at number one can only drop so many spots, especially when you play one of the best teams. So we'll see if it was
We'll
if
see if these hold
PLW
up.
is actually one of the best teams or not. So we'll get a better read on TFF next week.
Number 3, top 3. What once was RAR is now TD Blast. Was number 8 in the preseason rankings, rising up
Sheesh.
all the way to number 3 after dropping point Hellfire. I might think these people
Invited?
might be a little bit overrated.
Okay. It's tough because, yeah, you could say, well, you can't justify putting them top three because they beat one of the
They beat
bottom
a bad team.
teams. But also, what do you want from them? I mean, they kind of stomped the other team, so it's both ways. We're meeting in the middle. Didn't put
I
them
would
at number
I
one.
would say I would say maybe under TFF, right around where NLE OSGS, so maybe just one spot too high, but fair enough. Top 3, a lot of expectations at that rank. We'll see if they can live up to them. Taking on Plasma Wolves next week. Hint hint. Top 3 matchup apparently. I'm just kidding. I think it'll be one of the matchups to watch for sure. I think the other one being streamed.
It's
Um,
Avalanche versus TFF is getting streamed, so
yeah, that one I think is must watch only to see if TFF actually handles OSGA. If they struggle, I'm concerned. Even if they win, if they struggle, I'm concerned. But talking about 2 and 3, Plasma Wolves pretty much top 5 or higher in every position. Handled a good TFF team, rising from number 5 to number 2. I definitely see it.
yeah, I don't see them falling anytime soon. That's why I think they're still going to pull out probably a 2-0 win. But we'll see. Would have loved to have had that game streamed. Um, but yeah, well, they jumped from 5 to 2. So
Yep.
that must mean that number one is none other than OTLO.
OTLO was number 2 coming in, rising to number 1 after TFF falls. Only makes sense. Beat what we think is going to be a solid Veracity team. Still some question marks for this team that we've talked about, but uh, nothing to really point at and say they don't deserve number 1 as of this point. So I can agree with that. I think if you want to be like the biggest stickler, you could swap and say Plasma Wolves is number 1 and OTLO is number 2, just because of like actual individual player rankings. But both of them kind of on par with each other in my mind as of this moment.
Okay. Seems fair. Seems like the ones that are I don't say spicy, but they are what they are. There's maybe number 3 and number 9. Um, but they both played, I
Yeah,
think, the bottom team, so it's just tough to get an actual read. Um, but we'll
yeah.
see.
We'll have to see. There are your post week 1 power rankings. Let us know what we got wrong, what we got right. Um, anything else, CB? I think that's pretty much. Oh,
Uh,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
wait. Shout out to Carrie's HD and Coquino for the follows. Much appreciated. And we got 20 seconds.
We got 20 seconds. Do you just want to talk about our tournament during the ad break,
Oh, we can do it right
or?
now. We could do both, but as we're wrapping up the stream, we are hosting a tournament. Our third one, third or
Yep.
fourth one, yeah, third one. It's February 7th. Sign up in our Discord. You can DM me or anybody from Rivals can probably point you in the right direction. But Gold Plat Elo tournament, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. If you guys want a sneak peek at what that might look like, got some VODs on the YouTube. I think the links are down below. If they're not, you just look up Rivals.org on YouTube.
Yeah, it should be below, but everything will
Uh,
get posted to YouTube along with this VOD probably
yep,
tomorrow.
probably tomorrow. Really fun to put these on. Have been competitive. We had maybe a little bit of a format issue last time, but the more teams means the less likely that's gonna happen. So please sign up if you're interested. Take a gander. Will be fun.
Yeah,
They've been fun every time we've done it. So there's always a little surprise as well. Some
true.
bragging rights, some cash, not a lot, but
True. It is
some.
what it
So
is.
you get a cool banner.
True. That's the most important
So
thing.
that's the most important thing. You get to hang a championship banner. Uh, but that's it for me, CB.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and go to sleep so I can wake up in about 6.5 hours from now.
yeah, that's true. Everybody have a good night. We appreciate all the support, like putting this on. Let us know if you want us to add or subtract anything. Otherwise, have a good night.